Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shonen and Chill, hosted by Zenrotto and Asaratha.
Yeah,
We got,
sorry about last week, guys. Zenrotto had the nerve to take sick time.
yeah, I took
Called in
PTO.
sick. I tried to decline it, but I guess it was protected PTO, so it didn't
Yeah,
work.
he was in the employee portal trying to refuse it, and it didn't work.
Although, the downtime, I was able to catch up to Chainsaw Man.
See,
So,
it's for your benefit, y'all, that we didn't have an
yeah,
episode last week,
yeah.
because now I can stop getting 715 comments asking why we've stopped talking about Chainsaw.
Yeah, I
Easily
did.
the comment I get. I even get why have you stopped talking about Chainsaw Man comments more than we get you guys are fucking stupid comments now, which is astonishing because we get a lot of those.
I looked through the comments briefly on last week's episode, and everyone was like, you guys forgot about Kagurabachi and stuff, and it was like, no, it didn't exist when we recorded that. And people also said you forgot about Mama Yuyu, and we didn't forget. We just didn't read it.
Yeah, we
That's
just
the
didn't do it.
thing.
We are doing Mama
Yeah.
Yu today. We just didn't do it last
Yes.
time. Also, yeah, the Kagurabachi did not exist when that episode was recorded.
Um.
Um,
Yeah. Okay. Disclaimer, guys. If you have to ask, hey, why isn't this thing being covered? There's probably a reason. And almost every time, we say it at the start of the show. So like, don't skip ahead next time. Just listen.
yeah, just watch the intro portion. Yeah, we do talk about it. Um, but yeah, we should. I think we're fully in on all the newbies this week, including two on ice. I think we're gonna be talking about. So
Yes, I think wasn't there one new series that we haven't talked about? I
Mama
don't
Yu
remember.
Yu, Kagurabachi, and two on ice.
No,
Right?
I thought there was one even before
Is
that.
there
Oh, it
another
was
one?
Icehead Gill that we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah, because I have not read a single fucking chapter of Ice Head Gill, nor do I
Yeah, and
plan to
because
start it.
and because you haven't read it, neither have I. So that's how it
Exactly.
works.
All right, so that's how it works out. So rip to the 7 Icehead Gill fans. You're gonna have to go somewhere else
Yeah.
for your content fix. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, guys.
sorry,
Um,
sorry, y'all.
I only I only read things when I get the message from Zen. I get the little notification on my phone that says, "Hey, by the way, we're reading dot dot dot," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Fuck, I have to expand my repertoire this week. Son of a bitch. All right. Break out that top three that you definitely didn't just make up like 5 seconds ago.
Yeah. So my number three, it's gonna be Sakamoto. My
Okay.
number two is gonna be Mamo Yuyu,
Okay.
and my number one, it's gonna be Jujutsu Kaisen, buddy.
Doing that strictly so we have to talk about it at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and
Purely so we have to wait.
don't add timestamps to this video, so people have to watch the whole thing to find out where it is. We're gonna throw it in somewhere random, actually.
It's just somewhere in the video.
If anyone
You know what
comments
I'm
the
gonna do?
timestamp,
I'm gonna
what?
intentionally leave Jujutsu Kaisen out of the timestamps on the video. So everything else is gonna be timestamped except for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Good. If someone comments the timestamp, ban them from the comment section.
All right.
What's yours?
Mine is probably uh you said one that I was like, "Oh yeah, I liked that one." And then that made me change mine in my head and then I forgot it completely. Oh,
Was it Mama Yu?
it was Mama Yu Yu. Yeah, my number 3 is
Okay.
Mama Yu Yu. My number 2 is probably Undead Unluck and my number 1 is Sakamoto.
I'm noticing a
Really?
distinct lack of JJK in there.
Yeah, weird, weird. Oh, say okay, so I took notes on all of that stuff to like reference in this episode.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how many other Shonen and Chill episodes I've taken notes for?
Is the answer 0?
It is 0.
Are you serious?
I have literally never taken notes for a Shonen and Chill episode before today.
Holy shit. I do it every episode, dude.
Nope, I have never taken notes, which is probably why I never remember anything. But I have never taken notes until right now. So yeah, we'll
Wow.
get into that
You're serious about
JJK
this shit.
section later on. But all right, first is we got to go way back because we is do retry actually because there was no chapter this week or ever again.
Yeah, or ever again. And Zen was so excited. I heard him pop the bottle of champagne
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
when
I've
he heard it
got
was over.
I've got sparklers going off over here right now while we're
Yeah.
recording. Um,
Um so I last week, or not last week, I guess 2 weeks ago, we were kind of wondering like how we go from here, considering this felt like a final chapter. And the answer is that it just time skips like fucking like 80 years. That's how it
yeah,
goes.
yeah, it ends by being like, you know what, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, we're gonna have another character in Shonen Jump die off screen. It's gonna be like a 2 week trend. Um, Although I have to say this one was particularly less egregious considering that I don't really give a shit. I don't remember his
Yeah,
name
it's the
even.
fact that I
So
don't care. Yeah.
yeah.
I actually, we
This
were talking about this chapter before we started recording,
yeah.
and I saw them mention the character's name, and I had to ask for clarification if that was the name of the main character.
It's
Uh,
like Alzoro or Alzori or
Alzora,
something,
yeah,
something like that.
Aozora, yeah.
Something like that. The yeah that last chapter was very meta. Talking about like exploitation, talking about I don't actually want to do what I'm doing, talking about how your work output is controlled by others, and at the end still trying to reach what you're aiming for. It felt like a super meta comment about Weekly
Yeah,
Shonen Jump.
I mean, the last chapter is literally him, or the last panel is literally him saying, "I'm
Yeah.
not out. I can still do it." So
Yes, we
it's literally the author just saying that. Like that's
yes. He wanted to talk about how shit Shonen Jump was so bad he time skipped 80 years in his series so that exploitative companies existed like more frequently. So-
so it was commonplace now.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, I
I
said this before we started recording. This was the only good chapter of Dimitri.
yeah, it's like I hated it at first because I thought it was really stupid that they were just like we're
Yeah.
skipping 80 years. But once you look at it through like a meta lens of this guy just being like, "Oh, I got fucking canceled again already." But I'm not giving up. Is like, yeah, all of a
hmm
sudden I'm rooting for him, which I shouldn't be because I haven't liked anything that he's made. But I'm rooting for him now. I don't know, something about the plucky underdog, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
I'm a sucker for relatable exploitation stories. I mean, what can I say?
As are we all. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it was completely not like the kid looking so much like the old main character
It's
was
yeah.
so confusing to me that I thought that he somehow didn't age for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Like it was like, what the fuck? He looks exactly the
You
same.
know, actually, I will have to knock a point off this chapter. We did not get to see the descendant of Coomhammer and see if he has two big arms, no big arms, like
What if
half of a big
what if
arm.
because he doesn't need to fight anymore, all of his descendants have a really little right arm? Like they went pacifists, so their right arm is like all atrophied.
This felt like missed potential for sure. We should have had that in there.
Really should have. All right, I'm done talking about this series forever now. We never have to do it again. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, true.
all right, so then next we have Chainsaw Man, which I think we can skip the review of the week and just kind of go into what you think about Chainsaw Man because it's your first time talking about it.
Yes, so for those that don't know, Chainsaw Man Part 1 is like one of my favorites of all time. Chainsaw Man Part 2, it's all right. Uh I don't really got much to say about it to be honest. I do like myself in that manga. I think I did a pretty good job. Um
Yeah, you did great.
I am mixed on the current trajectory of Denji. Uh I know a lot of people like to fight about which had a better start, Part 2 or Part 1. Obviously, I think Part 2 has a somewhat better start than Part 1. However, that should be a somewhat guarantee considering
Yeah,
that when you
because it's
start
a
a new series,
continuation.
yeah.
Yeah. Of,
Uh yeah, so I think that should be a given. You're starting like you're not starting a new series. You're not starting from zero, so you don't have to do that. Um I think more time spent with Asa would be good. Um I do think that it's a little jarring that we don't really get to see anything that she does for the Chainsaw Man Church. She just becomes the face of it.
yeah, that was a
I
big jump for me too. I was kind of like,
yeah.
it was strange. It's weird because I feel like Chainsaw Man Part Two is at its best when they're both on the screen together, and they almost
Yes.
never are. So
Um
it's very frustrating.
I do have the initial knee-jerk reaction about, pedophiles, unfortunately. However, Chainsaw Man has a at least like with like Makima, there was a reason. It fit into like an overarching narrative. Um Hopefully it's the same for this girl that I don't remember the name of, because that was fucking odd and
Well,
very
see,
strange.
Makima also was kind of always meant to be off-putting and creepy, and obviously is the
Yeah.
villain by the end, right? Like
Yeah.
you're always supposed to be kind of weirded out by her to the point
Mhm.
that eventually you hate her because she's just like the worst. Whereas
Mhm.
this girl is like borderline ally, like just kind of a weirdo, but like kind of also seems to genuinely like Denji, which is weird. Um,
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
odd.
It's a little off-putting, yeah.
Um, I guess my main concern with part two right now is I'm just not really sure where it's going, and I felt like the same criticism applied to part one for a long time. But like when part one finished up, it kind of became one really cohesive like narrative that you can look back on and be like, oh, all of these plot beats make a lot more sense now in hindsight.
Yeah, like
So obviously,
retroactively. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously with part two, since I like part one so much and I know the plot structure of part one, I'm gonna be a lot more charitable and lenient with what it's doing, and I'm gonna see where it's going. But right now, it's fine. I don't dislike it actively. I'm just kind of confused by what it's going for right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
obviously,
little meandering, I think
yeah.
is a good word for it. It's just kind of
I mean, like there's pieces in play, like the Chainsaw Man Church. There's the Chainsaw Man identity that Genji has to grapple with now. There's all the stuff with Asa. I see those. I'm just wondering how it all fits together right now, and we'll see, I guess.
yeah. We'll see where it goes. I too think that part one, well, again, saying part one is better feels like a cop out answer because it's a completed story, right? So
Mhm.
like, I feel like you'd have to kind of compare it to like, I don't even know where part one was at 50 chapters in, or were they in like the Eternity Devil or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not sure.
probably further than that actually, probably somewhere in the latter half. But uh, I don't know. I have no idea where it was. But I think that part two just kind of it has a lot of moving pieces, and I don't feel like I am seeing the board yet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, well,
That's how I put it too.
yeah, we'll see where it goes. But all right.
Sorry to disappoint Chainsaw Man fans.
Yeah, we're not falling out on the floor screaming about how great it is.
No, sorry.
All right. Speaking of falling out on the floor and screaming about how great it is, Nue's Exorcist. We got the Coom content back, baby.
Um, God, that fucking chapter sucked ass.
It's really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. I feel like
Yeah.
that it doesn't help that every time we criticize the shit out of this chapter, it also happens to be a chapter with a lot of unnecessary, like, Coom content in it. But
hmm
at the same time, that's almost all of the chapters. So I don't know what you
Yes.
all want from us. Like, we.
Yes. Yeah. Let us have this very important conversation. But before we do that, we must go to the bath so we can have our
We
honkers out the
also
entire
have to
time.
be naked. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just very the manga. This manga is very on the nose, and I can see why it's so successful. It just gives me a really hard time to like ever taking it seriously.
Yeah, it's a problem that I have too because I like it's just so transparent, you know?
Yeah, and like I want to make it clear that like Chainsaw Man is one of my favorites, so I obviously don't have a problem with nudity or like sexual content in a manga. I just feel like if I can tell, this is how I always put it. If I can tell that the author needs to crank one out before they write the chapter, it's just impossible for me to like get into it.
There's just situations where you look at like, nudity or whatever in a chapter. And again, I'm also despite the fact that I really dislike like coom content, I'm also not
Mhm.
against like there being sexuality and nudity in content.
Yeah.
But when you look at something like Nue's Exorcist, or even like that recent My Hero chapter, where they start the chapter with the invisible girl just naked for like, what is
uh...
that adding for me, right? Is like, it's perfectly fine to have it if it's adding something to it other than being
Mhm.
like, hey, look, here's a naked lady in it, though, you know? So like Denji's whole
Yeah.
thing about like he's a kind of a perverted, freaky weirdo is that he's a guy who lived his whole life expecting to have nothing, and then when he
Yeah.
realized he could get things, he went for base things because he's never known anything else, right?
Yes.
Um, and that's fine. That's totally fine with me to use it that way. But literally having this discussion about like you're my friend and I like you. Did they have to be naked and covered in suds wrestling in a bathtub to have that conversation? And I think the answer is
Yeah.
no, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
some
Trans
not on
like
board with that.
really transparent fan service is it's just grating, man.
Yeah, it's like it's just annoying. I don't know. I don't know how else
Cuz
to put it. It's
like
annoying and weird.
this conversation could have just happened in the hallway they started the conversation in and nothing would have changed.
Yeah, it was like there's nothing about the I guess like someone in the comments is gonna give us that bullshit. Like, well, actually, bathing together in Japan is very intimate, so it's meant to show how close they are. And I
Damn,
would
I don't
believe
give a
you.
fuck.
Yeah, one, I don't really care, but two, I would believe you more if this series didn't start with like an upskirt. You know,
Yeah.
like eventually you get that reputation where it's just like I can't take you seriously, and
Yeah.
I don't know. The action's also kind of bad in this. I just don't
Okay,
really
yeah,
like the action in
that's what
this.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah, so for this week's chapter, um it's really not good at creating engaging fights. It's like this fight with Niue and fucking what's his face. it was a lot of lines going really fast, and they stared at
It
each
was
other until the
it
weapons
was
broke.
literally it reminds me of a JoJo stand battle from the perspective of someone that can't see stands. Because it's just a bunch of hits that mean nothing.
Yeah,
Um, I like how he somehow, if you look at the partial spread, it's not like a full spread, but it's pretty close on 8 to 9, where they're doing all the slashes. He's still kind of got Nue in there a little bit, kind of see
yeah,
her hair a little bit, and it's like, what about this is like a cool or interesting fight? I understand that you're supposed to kind of like, it's supposed to be a shock factor thing. Like, wow, look at how good these guys are at fighting that our guys aren't because they can't do this. Um, but it's nothing. It's just a bunch of lines on the page. Like
yeah.
it doesn't do anything for me other than he's really fast, I guess.
It's really not good choreography, and it's crazy because like when you're in the same magazine as fucking Sakamoto Days, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
you
come
got to
on.
do better than this. You got to do better than this. Like even
You're
Boruto
in the
has better
same
fight choreography than this, and I hate
man.
Boruto's fight choreography. So like
You're in the
I
same manga as Kagurabachi, man. Come on, dude. You gotta step it
Kagurabachi does have better fight choreo than this though.
up.
I actually that was something I was gonna praise about it when we get there. Is I think the
Oh yeah.
first fight it flowed really well. Also, like the last episode, Nue was like, "Don't worry, everything's fine," and now already we're like, "It's not fine. This is not." And I
Yeah,
assume
I'm
this is gonna be like a plot device for saying like, "Oh, Nue can protect everyone, but because she's dependent on this little fucking loser, he's got to get stronger so that she's not handicapped by him anymore." Is my assumption.
I'm
Um,
assuming because this series has no balls that there's just gonna be some like thing that she has that actually makes it fine.
Yeah, she's gonna be either that or like, cause we got that little bit where this guy that came to kill them is like friends with the upskirt girl.
Yeah.
She's gonna show up and like talk him out of it or something. Like Nui's gonna lose and then he'll be convinced to stand down. Um,
Yeah, I guess.
or if this series is as transparent and stupid as it probably is, they're gonna lose and then the girl's gonna get taken away and he's gonna have to go rescue her. And that's gonna be the next main arc is rushing the
Oh my
compound.
god.
It's gonna be the Zoldyck rescue arc, but way
Oh.
less good. Like
Oh shit. Yeah, maybe.
there's a real chance for that, I think.
Yeah.
But well, I don't know. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's all I got for you is that it's bad.
Yeah. I got nothing else to say because it's bad as well.
All right. So next up we've got Yozakura family.
Dude, Yozakura stocks are back.
Yeah, I kind of liked it because
Yeah.
the children were not in it. They were
Yeah, they
not
died
part
off
of it.
screen.
They were in it for one panel, and the one
Yes.
panel they were in was actually funny because it was
Um.
him covering the
Oh
little
yeah,
girl's
yeah.
eyes because she's seeing like them all be obsessive
Uh,
over him, and he was like, "We
I
don't
will have
need
to
you
say,
learning."
Yozakura stocks are increasing. Kyoichiro stocks have never been lower than they are right now.
Kyoichiro stocks have always Kyoichiro's never been a good investment. All right, so if you're buying big on Kyoichiro, you need a better advisor.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, oh my god, it's so I hate it, dude. Every fucking time they do the fucking syscon shit. Stop. Just stop. It's not funny. It's never been funny. I've never ha-ha'd. I've
and
never
it's funny
guffawed. It
because
sucks.
it's in the exact same chapter. They do the exact same joke with Mutsumi about Tayo, but they
Yeah.
frame it the same way. Like loving your spouse is the same thing as loving your sister that way, and it's not at all.
And it's not.
It's
It is
just a
not even
little cringe, is really
close.
like all it is. Is like it's
Yeah.
over the top kind of cringy, not like creepy sister stuff. I don't know. Also, one criticism I have is, did you really need to photocopy a panel from 2 prior pages? Like it was 2 pages ago. It's not like a flashback. We just saw it.
Oh yeah, I get what you mean. It didn't bother me too much personally, but I understand. Yeah.
Like
Um.
like it could have just been a black panel. Honestly, it
Yeah.
always weirds me out when like I don't mind when you photocopy a panel like because MHA photocopies its panels all the time.
Yeah.
But it usually does it like for something that's a long time flashback. And you don't want to. I get not wanting to
Yeah.
redraw a flashback, but also show what's on it. So you photocopy the panel. That's fine. But did you really need it? It was 2 pages ago. I saw it. I saw it. It's the same image.
I will say though, just seeing Tayo get to be fucking raw again.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, dude. The frame where the
what I
guy is
needed.
like he was looking at me like that because he knew that
Yeah.
I didn't have any. Like that was cool. That was so
Oh,
cool.
I needed that shit so bad, dude. I needed that Tayo
Inject that
injection.
into my fucking
I
veins,
needed
dude.
that. His fucking confidence in that situation. Oh, I needed that real bad.
And
Other than
dude,
that, they got nothing.
if we skipped the kid portions and this was like the beginning of it, I would be so on board. I would be so on board.
Yeah, yeah, true. We spent a long time doing nothing with the kids.
Doing nothing with these stupid children, and now we're back to like the family on a mission together, and I'm like, oh wait, this fucking bangs.
Yeah, this is
Um,
this is this is the Yozakura that I liked for
yeah,
fucking like
it,
160 chapters.
God, man, it's it felt so good, and I know it's gonna go away. That's what hurts the most, is I know it's
Yeah.
gonna be gone soon.
Also,
You
I
know?
wanted to mention I've seen a couple people in this SNC community in the Discord in the comments say, "Oh well, the table of contents is doing well, so the kids are popular." So, dude, I don't care. People always like to bring out, "Oh, it's like selling well," or "Oh, the TOC is popular." Dude, I'm a fabricant fucker. I'm a fabric. I'm a fabricant get to 100 chapters guy. Okay, like I don't think if the TOC is good, that's cool, but that doesn't really indicate quality.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the TOC. New Age
Yeah.
Exorcist is popular. I don't care what you think is popular and that makes it good. Like, shut up. I don't care.
True, true.
I just can't imagine caring about that. Um, okay, we're skipping that one. Oh man. Oh God. Uh,
Wait, is it Ichinose? Are we skipping?
no, no. I was mumming
Oh,
you that we're skipping because it's in our top three, so we have to come back to it
oh,
later.
okay,
But that
okay.
put us onto Ichinose.
Next one, next one, next one.
Dude, this series fucking sucks.
Yeah,
The
honestly,
dad is the
dude,
bad guy?
can I make a suggestion?
Please.
Do you want to stop reading this?
Yes, so badly. So badly I want to stop reading this.
Do you want to stop? I
It's
can't. I
just,
can't do this anymore.
it's before the mystery was kind of interesting, and I was almost interested for a second. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we're back in a dream sequence," but now it's like the dad is like putting them in the dream. I don't care. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try to explain it because I don't care. Like,
Do people even like in our? Because like obviously there's at least one person for like every series we talk about in the comments. Does anybody ever talk about Ichinose? I can't
I
think of
I
anybody.
I can't think of anyone that really that caps too hard for it. No, there's not a one smart for Ichinose if that's what you mean.
No, okay. Like who's gonna miss us talking about this?
I don't know. Someone in the comments who has never commented before is gonna be like, "Wow, you
True.
guys
Yeah.
don't get Ichinose family, you fucking
It's
idiots."
true. I don't.
I
It's too
don't. Yeah,
implicit for me.
yeah. It's too big brain for me, bro. The
I
deep
needed it. I need
genius.
every. Yeah, I need every series to be as explicit as My Hero Academia, or I just don't get it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I can't comprehend it. Dude, it's so fucking stupid. I don't care. I never want to. Okay,
Let's
do we even need to talk
go.
about it if we're dropping it? Can we just move on?
I didn't take any notes. So you know how
Awesome.
I said earlier before I take notes for everything? My note slot for Ichinose this week is just empty.
Cool. We're moving on.
Okay.
We're moving into Kill Blue.
Oh, I like these chapters quite a bit actually.
I liked all of them except for the girl's gonna fall in love with you thing. I
So
I
okay.
have faith. I have faith that it's gonna be
Yes.
handled well because every other time they've done this, it's been handled well.
Okay, yeah.
But every
So
time
I
they
was gonna
skirt the
say
line, I'm like, oh, is this gonna be the time it fucks up?
yes. So Kill Blue is always walking the tightrope of like federal prison, but it never truly gets sentenced. It always finds a way out of it.
It's got a really good lawyer.
Yeah, it's got Saul Goodman, man. Like I don't know. Um, the fight last chapter was raw, where he shot the bullets into the air and they landed on the gurney and it triggered the explosion or whatever. The only thing I would say is it was way too wordy in its explanation, and obviously manga can get away with a lot of explanation and stuff like that. But if you somehow manage to make a manga explanation feel like it takes way too long, I feel like that's an accomplishment since you could just read it all in your
Yes.
head real fast.
Yes. Um, I did like the few pages of the guy's dialogue being the actual like notepad, basically being like held
Hmm.
up to the frame. I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm talking about last chapter.
the one where they were talking about the hypnosis shit, and he's trying to
Yeah.
explain how he shot the stretcher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was I think half the chapter was that
Yeah.
explanation
It was brutal.
because it
Uh,
starts on page 9 and the actual event and explanation of how the event took place ends on page 14.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not great.
no.
However, this chapter, besides the cliffhanger potential, I liked it a lot. 10 was so cool,
10 was great. Yeah, I really like him. I
dude.
also one good thing about chapter 21, I really like the shot on page 14 of him like silhouetted. It's just his eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Really,
yeah.
really, really good shot.
Yeah,
Um,
this chapter, the understanding that Tenma and the Walmart Mahito came to was like, oh, maybe it's better if we just don't understand each other. That shit was cool.
yeah, I kind of like that because when Tenma was saying like maybe it really is better if I don't know what you
Yeah.
want because then I won't feel bad or like empathize with you because I
Hmm.
still have to win regardless, and
Yeah.
I kind of feel worse about it now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like that. Um, Also, the sports fight is just fucking cool. Like I don't know what to tell you, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Let's see if Kill Blue can evade the allegations for yet another week.
Can it once again get acquitted? Yeah, it's really good. I just always worry that this is going to be the time that they end up leaning into the stupid shit and it gets bad.
If he doesn't lean into it again, I'm never doubting him ever again, I
Yeah,
think.
if she's hypnotized to fall in love with him and he's like, "No. Stop that shit."
Yeah.
Even better if he's like, "I figured out how to break it." So you don't do
Yeah.
that anymore. A plus. I will always
Yes.
have faith. But yeah,
I will be
every
seated.
time maybe it's just the resident Kyoichiro like nerves in me where I'm like, is this happening now? That I'm expecting it to be weird. But so far so good.
Yeah.
So far so good. All right, next is Martial Master.
I like these chapters. So last week's chapter, I always like these little humanizing moments for Cause, especially like I always say, we introduced to him like so gratuitously. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But now he's like genuinely excited that his brother won his first fight. Like it's just a really good dynamic that they have. And Nito is like starting to understand that he really actually genuinely enjoys just the thrill of the fight. And a part of me does wonder if that's because right now he's mostly taking W's. And once he actually faces, because I still think he's going to lose overall in this tournament thing or whatever.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he's
And
gonna
I
win.
wonder how that's gonna make him feel. Because right now, he was riding the high in this chapter of like the victory, and then he was like, "Well, I probably shouldn't do that because like these people might actually fuck me up, and I should respect them, and etc. etc." Um, this week's chapter was fine. Not much to talk about. It was some character setup, introduction, development, etc.
Yeah, I mean I
And it
like
set
the
up.
guy. I think he's
Yeah,
I like him. The tiger guy. I think he's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I still believe what I said. I think a few weeks ago that the second round, Nito will win by using his ultimate smash or whatever,
The
and
the
then
knee the knee thing that
y-
he did. Yeah.
and then I think the final fight is when his trump card won't work, and then he'll lose.
Yeah, I could see that because yeah, he's gonna go for it in every round and it's gonna get countered because they even said it this time like you can't rely on that anymore
Yeah.
because that people are already looking for it because you like flash one. They're like you basically one shot the guy
Hmm.
with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure.
Well, was that Nito's like? Because
Yeah,
remember there was a few
that was his
chapters ago.
finisher. Yeah,
That was the finisher. Okay,
yeah, the
maybe
flying
not
knee
then.
thing. Yeah.
I must have missed that being called the finisher. Then I don't know. He's just gonna lose to some shit. Then he'll just get shot. I don't know. They'll execute him like they didn't do retry.
Just shoot him in the
But it'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm
I
looking
like
forward
this
to it.
manga.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I hope it keeps going. It's still in that scary zone, the
Yeah,
the
once
the,
it
the
gets past
scary
30,
corner. Yeah,
and even then, sometimes you're not even safe past 30. But
yeah. I have faith. I think it's doing really well. It hasn't made any crazy
yeah,
missteps or anything. I have faith.
not
Um,
enough, not enough porn, not enough
not enough
gooning.
terrible goon content. Yeah. All right. So next we've got Akane Barashi.
Um, honestly, man, I'll just let you take over Akane Banashi because, like, I really never have anything to say about this manga except like it was
uh,
it was really bold of Tengen to jump out of JJK and into Akane Banashi, but considering the current
yeah,
state, I get it.
yeah. Well, he saw Gojo get off screen and he was like, I gotta get into something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. A lot of character work in this series I don't love, but I do like the comedian guy.
Hmm.
I enjoy him a lot. I liked his little bit where there's that girl character that means nothing and probably will never show up again that is like irritated by him because
Yeah.
it kind of puts into perspective like his personality a lot, because her whole thing was like you could have gone and worked anywhere you wanted and instead you chose this shitty stupid path that everyone would hate because you're
Yeah.
always willing to follow your passion and all this stuff. And she's like a corporate sleazy, not like sleazy, but she's like a corporate assistant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's like nobody wakes up when they're a kid with wonder and love in their hearts, going, I can't wait to be the secretary for some rich old douchebag for the rest of my
I
life,
can't
right?
wait to clock into my 9 to 5 where I get 2 weeks off every year for the rest of my life until
Uh
I
huh.
just sort of die.
Until I just fall over, yeah. And it's great seeing that the conflict there and even the recognition from her that like it almost kind of pisses her off that he
Mhm,
followed his passion and made it effectively,
mhm, mhm.
which I like that because again, that's kind of a real like we always talk about series going through the appreciation of art and like what it means.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. You've always got people telling you like this is not viable, this is not a thing you should be
Mhm,
doing. And it kind of
mhm.
had did it earlier too as well when the guidance counselor was like, "Are you really sure you want to fucking do this?"
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed seeing that with these two. I don't really get why the guy looks like Tengen. I don't know. But I kind of like their relationship too, where it's got I kind of thought he was going to be like the douche teacher at first, but then it's just
Mhm.
like actually they just kind of have like gruff affection for one another. Um,
Yeah.
I like that too. This most recent chapter was almost nothing. I
Mhm,
It was literally just like, hey, look at this thing. I'm a character you don't care about, and I got promoted.
mhm.
and
Yeah.
and I do like Akane's like trying to get promoted, and we know she's going to because of what series we're reading. So there's
Yeah.
no chance that it doesn't happen, which I think is why I'm a little bit not that invested in it.
Mhm.
Because I maybe I'm wrong, and she will fail, and the guy will be like, "Fuck off." Um, I find it borderline impossible to believe that she will not succeed at convincing this guy to promote her.
Yeah.
So I can't care that much about it.
Yeah. I love failure, man. Failure's so raw. We need more characters eating shit and failing.
Yeah, I agree. Um, but I don't know. I it was fine. I really liked last week's chapter. This week's was whatever. Not bad, not great. It's fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, next we have My Hero Academia.
Hey, you want to drop this one too? This manga's fucking terrible, man. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like it's just bad.
Stain showed up to do one thing and then he got one shot. Did you see the
Can you?
tweet that was like, "Oh my God, it's literally the meme," and it was like
Oh
the,
yeah, 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 yeah.
"Oh
That
my
picture that
God,
I
you're
yeah
here," and it's
seen that
Stain,
a
and then
million
it's like,
times and it was true as fuck.
it's
Yeah.
exactly that.
Can you remind me what happened in chapter 400? So that was when Invisible Girl was naked for no reason, right? And then
So chapter 400, yeah, I'll go. Invisible Girl was
right,
naked for no reason.
right.
Aoyama got a quirk evolution off screen. Um,
Right. Okay, so
yeah,
first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, what the fuck? Third of all, how come you introduce quirk malfunctions just to make her naked? What the fuck? Fourth of all, what the fuck?
yeah, all of this, what the fuck? And then All Might is still like coming in
Dude,
his robot suit
oh my
over
god.
the fight.
Everybody told me, dude, the suit's just not gonna work, bro. The suit's gonna break instantly, dude. Come on.
They've
Like
been
he's
fighting
not gonna be
for
able to put up a
weeks.
fight. Like, and then in this chapter, he's still getting his ass beat and he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. Um, and he's also like so crazed about the fight that he's
Yeah.
like, I can't even feel my detached legs because I'm so excited to be doing this.
I
Um,
know I know everyone wants to fucking dude, like I don't think it's possible for me to not think that this is character regression and a fucking terrible decision. I don't think it's possible.
and you know that people are gonna bitch about that, and they're like, you just don't get it. Like you clearly don't understand All
True,
Might if you
yeah.
think this is character regression or whatever.
You know what I've always thought was funny, Zen? Is I was one of the only people at the time advocating for All Might to live for the entire story. I was the only person I put out an All Might thread that was so kino about him surviving that it got plagiarized by fucking CBR. And I made a video. I was like one of the only people ever talking about how All Might should survive, and every time I talked about it, everyone was like, "Yeah, you're right. Actually, I do think he should live, and also that he should learn to value himself, and learn that maybe fighting isn't the only way." Isn't that crazy? What happened?
But see, and the thing is, I actually think character regression is a valid tool, but you
Yes,
have to
it can be.
portray it as bad, right? Like if they were looking at this from the lens of like All Might is objectively wrong, then that
Mhm.
would be fine. But instead, they're doing it like he's the hero, right? Like coming in and
Yes.
sacrificing himself for the greater good to come in here and because no one else could do it. But for some reason, his robot car can do it.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that he's not actually winning. I don't care that he's winning because whatever. Well, okay. I realize now that we're also kind of in a weird situation where if if All for One fails to get to Shigaraki because of this, then effectively All Might won the fight. Whether or not you
Yes.
want like it matters if he defeated All for One, he fulfilled the objective that he was trying to accomplish with his stupid
Yes.
robot car, which is going to piss people off. But if he didn't, then we just spent all this time watching All Might get beaten to effectively death for no reason, and then we're just going to continue with the plot. We could have just not done any of this.
So my thing about character regression. Character regression is a useful tool that Horikoshi doesn't really use, which is fine. You don't have to use it. He used it once with Shoto during the provisional license exam arc, and it was fine. Um, but here's the thing about that. Character regression works a lot better when the story isn't ending in like 3 seconds.
Well, yeah, yes.
So you have time to display
This
why
almost would
this.
have been something for like the last war.
Yeah.
And then Deku has to come to like if you wanted to character regress All Might and then I guess have
This
him die. Because if All Might survives this, by the way, if he doesn't die right here, this series is in the fucking gutter, just dog trash.
this this is
Um,
something that has to happen before Villain Hunt when the story didn't consistently go. Killing yourself is bad.
yeah,
Like
yeah, killing yourself to do this all by yourself is bad actually, which is exactly what All Might's doing. And again, I kind of jive a little bit. I'm stretching really hard here, but because a lot of people are saying, Deku and All Might are very similar and that they have that same aspect about them. So it's not unbelievable that All Might would do this. But the problem is that when Deku did it, it was portrayed as objectively wrong, and that was fine.
yes,
But now they're not doing the same thing with All Might,
dude.
whereas instead this is entirely being portrayed as like the heroic last stand kind of thing instead.
Deku
Um,
abandoning All Might to go on his own was like literally in like a rainy atmosphere. Like All Might collapsed to the ground and fucking spilled his spaghetti all over the place and fucking cried on the floor and shit. Like, come on, dude, really? Like, what is this? What what
yeah,
what happened?
yeah, where, how did we get here?
What happened to
Um,
shame?
yeah, what happened to Shame? What is he cooking? Stain coming back is borderline the dumbest shit I've ever seen, because this entire arc I know has been made fun of for like, oh, look at this cameo, like Lady
Yeah.
Nagin taking the shot on the fucking rooftop, right?
Yeah.
But this one feels especially egregious because all he did was show up, do his stupid blood lick one time,
Die.
get hard countered by a quirk so blatantly specific that it reminds me of Yuki versus Kenjaku, where he's
Okay,
just,
yeah.
by the way, I can expel all the blood out of my body and change my blood type.
I
Fuck
was
you.
I
Uh,
do I do want to point out that the guy who was getting his ass beat by a quirk that you can defeat by just like having your iPhone flashlight on had a quirk that let him expel his own blood and swap his blood type.
and swap his blood type to something else.
Why?
Um, I and he's like, I knew I had to prepare for you because you didn't join me in the prison, and I'm like, I'm so sick of All for One being like, oh my god, I was caught off guard, but not really because I'm the genius evil guy. At some point, the only character that's ever pulled that off in a way that didn't irritate the shit out of me was Aizen, and only because he was cool enough to be worth it, right? All for One is such a detriment to this story. And then he literally, Stain shows up, and I think he swings his sword like one time, and then he gets
Yes,
launched into a
so
building and dies.
one of the pervading criticisms of All for One in this war is that he lacked any sort of impact. He didn't kill anybody, never really did any meaningful damage to anyone. He took Endeavor's arm, but like, is that really all we're doing? So he finally, maybe it's My Hero Academia, maybe killed someone.
Yeah, I get. We
It,
don't actually know if he's
it's
dead. He looks dead.
it's Stain.
Yeah, who fucking cares about Stain? Stain was in one. Well, okay, that's actually wrong because a lot of people care about Stain because he was in an arc that was actually good.
Yes, some people have clung to the idea that Stain is the best fucking villain to ever grace Weekly Shonen Jump because he was as fucking deep as a pond. Which, don't get me wrong, uh, like he's fine. I like Stain. There's better villains in My Hero Academia than Stain, but like, yeah, he's fine. Do I really care that much about him? No, not really. he's he's alright. He's
Yeah,
been he
he's Stain. Like who? I don't know. I can't imagine who like actively gives a huge shit about Stain. And now like All for One is close enough to you. First of all, it's really funny that it's called Gloop Warp. By the way, that's the dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah,
But so he's like here, ready to use his stupid like slime teleport thing,
yeah,
and we're in such a weird position because I feel like there's almost no way that you can do this that won't receive some level of like, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? Because
yeah.
let's say that he just leaves All Might here and just teleports away. What the
Hmm.
fuck? What was the purpose of this whole fight? Why did he not kill All Might? Because the whole point of the plan was like he hates me so much that he'll be so overwhelmed with
Yeah,
hate that he'll chase me down and kill me before he's able to do that in time. Fine.
yeah.
Stupid, but fine. Um, so if he just teleports away now, then who gives a shit?
Hmm.
Um, if if he doesn't, when he is in range, and then but like he kills All Might and then just like fades into he like turns into the fetus like from JoJo with the shadow
Uh-huh.
person.
Yeah,
Um, who even cares about that either? Because did that win? What did that accomplish? Really?
yeah, yeah,
And
man. I don't know.
also, maybe this is just me, but I really thought Shigaraki was the main villain of this series. So
Oh yeah,
why
he
is this
was
entire arc being spent following a different villain?
hoary for gore.
It's so frustrating, dude. Anyway, if all, the least my most hated outcome of it, because I'm gonna hate it no matter what, but I'm gonna
Yes.
hate it the most if All Might lives because this dude has been a walking corpse for like the entire series, and if he gets beaten to shit in a robot car and he's still like I lived, then I'm gonna be so annoyed.
The way I feel about the final villain thing is that Shigaraki, and I think if you disagree with this, you're just wrong. Shigaraki is so substantially better than All for One. It's not even funny.
Oh yeah, like not even remotely close.
Yes. So we replaced our actually good final villain with one who sucks in basically every regard, which I think personally is kind of an L. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking. It's not great. It's not great. Um, back to Stain. I do want to say because I know some people are just strangely invested. If you care about Stain and care that he got Gran Torino donut hold, that's cool. I'm happy for you. I don't care. Um, he'll be fine probably, just like Gran Torino was when he got donut hold. Like I'm not worried about
Also,
anybody in the
also
series.
like he was like I'm gonna take your cork now, and it's like what why what good is that gonna actually accomplish?
See, the thing with All for One is that by the time you can get their blood and lick it, you might as well have just killed them.
Right. And like at what point and then I like when um they're like, "Oh man, one final shield from the car." And because a big complaint about the car was like it tanked a fucking laser that killed
Yes.
the giant, or didn't kill him because no one dies in the series, but knocked down the giant man.
And then it could
Um
do it again.
and then it could do it again. And the whole argument was like, "Oh, it can only do that once. One more hit and he's toast." And now here we are like 3 weeks later, and
Yeah,
not
he's
only
still
is he
getting his
still
ass beat.
fighting, but also that he got another shield.
The series sucks so bad, dude.
I
Like,
don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
I know what to say. It's fucking awful.
And like this whole bit at the end, like the car says like you have to live. Like even the fucking car is like this
Yeah.
is the fucking robot car is sitting here saying, "Hey, this is really opposite your character arc. Please stop doing it." And then we get this big panel that's like, "You're not dead yet," and then he's still
Yeah.
trying to goad him on to like come after him because he wants to, I guess, to die
So,
a hero.
yeah.
But it even feels like the chapter is like saying outright, like, "Hey, don't fucking die." But then immediately after that, he's like, "I gotta fucking die so bad." Like, what do you want me to believe or think or care about in this?
the the common response is, "What did you expect All Might to do? Just not fight?" What one? Yes. Second of
Correct.
all,
He has no powers. Correct.
I think it would have been significantly better if the story was written in a way in that All Might didn't kill himself. Personally, that's just me, because like people are like, "Oh well, somebody had to hold off All for One." Well, one, no, because it's a story, and clearly Horikoshi is
You
setting
could
the
have
rewind
just
rate
made All for
arbitrarily.
One not solo an entire battlefield of pro heroes in like 10 seconds, and then spend
Yes,
more time fighting Iron Man than any of that took.
yes. The time that rewind is taking is clearly arbitrary, given the fact that Um, we've also made up rules with rewind, such as that his quirks are completely external from his body and don't get rewound. So I'm pretty sure we have the little bit of leeway to play with, personally.
Yeah, the
Uh,
rewind thing is the only reason to even have it at this point is to create this arbitrary time limit to create
Yeah.
some sort of sense of tension. Which what is it with My Hero Academia and arbitrary stupid fucking time limits? Because remember they had the stupid time limit for Shigaraki's body to be completed,
Yes.
and then
Back in SNS,
he
yeah.
fought SNS, and they were like, oh my god, SNS fucking died to buy us another arbitrary time limit that means nothing.
Let's go. We got 5
And
seconds.
yeah, it might as well have been because who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And then now here we are again with another like I gotta beat him before he rewinds, or I gotta make him
Mhm.
rewind into a fetus, and I don't know how long that's gonna be. Also, if his quirks are like independent of his body and they don't rewind, does this mean we're gonna have like the baby from The Incredibles at some point? Like he's just gonna have all of
Yeah,
his powers, but as a baby?
that is likely, yes. That is probable, unfortunately.
That's I don't know. I hope that he keeps his brain and he's like still like I planned it all, but he looks like Boss Baby. Like that's my goal here
I agree.
is
That's a
for
good,
him
yeah,
to
I
look
agree with
like
that.
Boss Baby while also I want Boss Baby to kill All Might is what I'm saying. That's what I need to
Fair
have
enough. Fair
happen
enough.
before this series to end. I will
Man,
forgive
it's
it.
gonna be it's gonna be way less impactful when Shigaraki kills Offer One when he's literally wearing diapers.
Yeah, that's I don't know if it's supposed to be like, is it going to be the first shock factor or something? Because I saw someone say like, why didn't he just pick up All Might, take him to the battlefield, and then be like, look, Izuku Midoriya, I'm killing All Might in front of you, because that's like, even though again, I also don't think we need to do that because I'm getting kind of tired of the Deku freaks
Yeah.
out when he sees someone close to him die thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess like I'm willing to have a little bit of charitability when it comes to Offer One being stupid because like obviously he's very emotionally charged with All Might right now, so like I can forgive him making some bad decisions. Not all of the, mind you, not all of the bad decisions he's
some
made,
of
which is
them, yeah,
numerous.
yeah, almost
Uh,
exclusively bad decisions, but yes,
like
he
like
is.
like yeah, his insistence on not using his quirk that literally deactivates all
That
electrical
turns off the
equipment.
car. Yeah, that can
Yeah.
just turn the car off.
Um,
And other people are like, he doesn't have it, but I don't care. I don't care. He should. It's stupid that he
he
doesn't.
why
Why
I'm
wouldn't
pretty
he?
oh I don't remember it word for word anymore, but I'm pretty sure I went over it on stream and like he logically should have it. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'd have to go back and read it again, but he should have that quirk. He's just washed.
Yeah. I
More
mean,
more people need to be willing to admit that their goat is washed. That's all I'm saying.
it. I don't know, man. It's bad. It's bad, and I don't like it. Um.
True.
All right. Next up is Blue Box.
Good chapters. I
Fine.
especially like
Yeah.
this week's.
Yeah. The Valentine's Day one.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Last week's. I always get I'm confused with all these fucking
Oh,
chapters.
so I liked the Valentine's Day one more actually.
Oh
But
really?
last one, yeah. But last week's was good. Both of them were good. I
Yeah.
didn't think either one was bad.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. For last chapter, I think Taiki being able to roll the guy that like represents his old mentality, that was very cool. I like that quite
Yes,
a bit.
I liked that. I also liked the cover of Chinatsu in the badminton uniform. I thought that was cute. That was funny.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I liked that that guy lost, and I kind of like
Mhm.
that he had this mindset of like, this guy is a nobody. How am I supposed to lose to a nobody? And I also kind of
Yeah.
like that they kind of they didn't like take the blame off of his shoulders for having that shitty attitude, but they
Hmm, hmm.
kind of transferred it to the environment that he was in.
Yeah.
Because he sees them like he's looking at Yusa, who's obviously better than him, who's like the
Hmm.
prodigy, right? And he's seeing this person say, you don't need to go to this no-name tournament that all these other people are going to because you're
Hmm.
better. And that kind of colors his view of like, I'm not that person, and so
Yeah.
does it even matter what I do?
Hmm.
And it's nice to have that kind of like a believable reason for him to be this way. He's not just kind of
Hmm.
like an obnoxious asshole.
Yeah,
I
man.
liked his reasoning. It was good.
Yeah. I liked Taiki winning just is nice. It felt good to see him win. Um, Especially after his repeated loss. And I think I was slightly critical of his repeated, or I had the potential to be critical of his repeated loss. But now that he's won, I feel like it does kind of retroactively make some of that repeated loss feel way better. Um, and for this chapter, I'm really hoping that the relationship between Kyo and Ayame, is that her name?
The witch girl,
Yeah,
the
pigtails.
we always called her the harlot, so I don't remember her actual name.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's Ayame or something. Yeah.
I'm hoping that that is not another love triangle involving Hina because she's been through enough.
I think that it's gonna be a fake out and it's gonna cause some conflict between her and Hina because they're very close right now. only
Hmm.
for it to eventually come out that she's misreading the situation.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think that would be better
Because
than.
I think that she obviously likes Glasses Boy, and
Yeah.
they've been building up to it believably. Like it's not out of nowhere. Like I
Yes,
actually,
it feels organic. Yeah.
yes, it feels very organic. But I think that her whole thing is that she's never had to try or like
Hmm.
to do anything, right? Because people just come up to her and like date me, and she's like, okay, give me free stuff. Like
Hmm.
that's been her whole character. And so now she's in a situation where she feels like she has to, and she's
Hmm.
kind of already convinced herself that she's not good enough.
Hmm.
Like the very first time she thought about it, she thought about Hina and was like, obviously he likes her more than me. So because it's the
Hmm.
first time she's had to try, and so I think
Right.
it's gonna result in her making some bad decisions and doing some unfair things, only to
Hmm.
realize that she was wrong. And kind of we have a little discussion about that. What like
Yeah.
like that's what
Yeah.
my thought process is where it's gonna go.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Because
Um.
I don't think that Hina is actually in on this gamble.
Yeah. Uh. Just a little fearful. I got some Shonen Jump fears in my heart. Um. But I'm hoping it'll pay off rather. I think it'll be all right. Blue Box is good. I like
Blue Box, good stuff, yeah, for sure. And I'm always a sucker for Valentine's Day things. I like the little
it.
uncomfortableness around sharing candy and stuff. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Kakurabachi.
I mean, what do I got to say about it? It's the best manga
all
ever created,
all right. Listen,
right?
it's really not that bad. I don't understand where all the memes come from. It's funny because it gets
Mhm.
really memed on for being like generic, right? Like, because it is very like this is
Yes,
a
my
shonen manga, like
my
there's nothing
my
special about
my
it.
my initial reading of this is that it feels like it was created in a lab.
Yes, it is. This is a shonen ass manga. Like, there's
Yes.
nothing about it that really stands out. In
Hmm.
terms, okay, that's not true. Like, it has really nice art, and I actually don't think the plot's that bad. But like, there's nothing
It's
about
alright.
it that makes me look at it and go like, oh wow, this is refreshing. You know, it is
Yeah,
a
it's just
shonen
fine.
manga. It is fine. That's it. But
Yes.
it's so funny to me that this gets clowned on so hard for being like generic. But then people look at like Nue's Exorcist and they're like, this is
Yes.
actually good. I like this. Like, this is good content. So like, you're talking like the weird coom stereotypical stuff that people have to do, because my argument has always been that the early chapters you're going to be at your worst because you have to
Yes.
appeal to
A
you
lot
have
of
to
people.
appeal to a lot of shit to get your feet under you so that you can start doing what
Hmm.
you want.
Hmm.
And so even Nue's Exorcist, like, I make fun of it because of all of the coom stuff, but like
Hmm.
at some point I hope, like, when it's not doing that, I think it's a lot better. I think when it moves
Hmm.
away from the gooning, and I don't know how much of it is that fear of like, if I don't have this type of appeal in here that I'm obviously forcing in here for no reason,
Yeah.
am I going to like, how much of that do I need to have? Like, Undead Unluck is the example we always go to. How much
Hmm.
of this do we have to have before we can stop doing it and never do it again, right?
Hmm.
And I think that when it comes to a new series, you have a series like Red Hood is a good example where
Uh-oh.
the pilot was really good. The pilot
Hmm.
of Red Hood was really good, and it created a lot of expectations around like where it's going to go, what it's going to do, and then it immediately devolved into maybe the most stereotypical and shitty shonen schlock ever. Right after that, because I think after he set that expectation up, he realized, or the editor realized, one of the two. I don't know who. I don't. There's a lot of moving parts, but like
Right.
it
Right.
it came up at some point that like, I don't know that this is going to have the appeal that you're looking for, right? Like,
Hmm.
you're not Togashi. Like, you're not going to drop a Hunter world and just all of a sudden everyone's going to be in on it.
Uh-huh.
And sort of speaking to the do retry final chapter a little bit, there are expectations of what you create. Once
Hmm.
at some point when you're creating, it's no longer yours.
Hmm.
You're creating what people want to see because you want to make money off of the thing that you're creating because you have to.
Right.
And so every series that starts out is a little stereotypical. It has to
Right.
be. This one is very stereotypical. New Age Exorcist, very stereotypical. Even Martial Master, I think, is not super unique in what it is. It's
Hmm.
just a sports manga, so it's framed differently. But
Yeah.
like, you have to be, and I understand that. But it's weird to see the one that does it in a more like action, like kind of. I see people saying it's super edgy. I don't even think it's that edgy. It's just kind of a little dark. I don't like.
I think the most edgy I would say it is when he's saying the line about how he wakes up because he looks in the mirror.
because
He
of the
wakes up and
scar.
he
Yeah,
with fresh
that was a
hatred. I was
little.
like, okay.
Yeah, that was
I was
pretty
like,
edge
okay. I was like,
cringe.
okay,
But
chill out, buddy.
yeah, you're getting a little too. But like most of it is just like he's that's the kind of character that he is, you know.
Right.
But and at first when I was reading it and he kind of said all that shit, I was like, oh god, is it gonna be like, is this how it's gonna be? Because everyone's talking about how edgy it was, but then like his partner character is good
The rest was
comic
fine, yeah.
relief. Like he counteracts it really well, and when the main character is being broody and annoying, the side character is like, shut up, like you fucking like we're gonna, like there's no, it's not like getting super leaned in on about like, look how cool my character is. Like I don't know, it's not like
Yeah.
it's not subverting it either. I think they definitely want
Hmm.
you to think he's really cool, but they're
Hmm.
not going out of their way to try to like sell you that half of this cringy shit that he's doing is like the most badass thing ever, in my opinion.
Right.
Maybe people disagree, I don't know, but the ultimate point I'm making is that it's weird to me how much shit this gets for being like pretty basic when
Yeah.
all of the weird like sex fuck nasty series don't. Like this
Yeah.
is it stereotypical and stupid a little, but it's inoffensive. It's wholly
Honestly,
inoffensive otherwise.
I think the only reason why this series got it worse than usual is simply because of the popularity, because it garnered such I don't know if I want to say fan base, but you know what I mean. Like,
It got a lot of attention, yeah,
yeah,
very
it
early
got a
on.
lot of attention, so I think a lot of people just wanted to. Not everyone, of course, and also I do think it's valid to think these things about the series, but some people definitely did just want to have a strong opinion about something that everyone was talking about, probably.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's just it's not that bad, and I actually think there's something here, for
Hmm.
better or worse. Like I actually think that the setting is kind of cool. Um,
Hmm.
my first thought was like, oh, is it going to be like a Demon Slayer thing? But no, it's like humans versus humans. It's just shitty humans being
Yeah,
shitty. I like the concept of the enchanted sword. I think it's pretty neat that his
yeah.
dad like had a special forbidden ability that no one else could do. Um, and so he's got to go get his dad's swords back, right?
Hmm.
I kind of like that as a premise. Like it's kind of basic, I gotta avenge my family or whatever. It's kind of basic, and I also, but like I see a lot of people compare him to Tanjiro for some reason. I guess because
What?
manga character. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. My only assumption is it because they have a sword and their parents got killed.
He's way better though.
I think so too. Which I think a lot of people are going to give us shit for that, but I think so too. I don't particularly care for Tanjiro. But I kind of like that there's more to his motivation than just I have to avenge my dad,
Yeah,
because it's also the whole thing that the dad was talking about, where like when you make a sword, whoever you give it to, you're essentially condoning that person be able to kill people, right?
yeah.
Like
That was the part that I liked. Yeah,
you are providing this person with the means to take another person's life. And
yeah,
so that is a responsibility you need to bear and be aware of. So it's not just that they killed his dad, but now that they've taken his weapons, they're kind of perverting that thing that means a lot to him
yeah,
as well. Like they're going to go and kill people with the things that he made against his will. He has
yeah.
no
I
say in
completely
it
agree. Yeah,
anymore. Yeah.
that was one of the few things that like I particularly enjoyed. Not to say that like I disliked it or anything. It was just it was just a series and Shonen Jump to me for
Yeah,
most of it.
it's very, normal. I think
Yeah.
that it doesn't even, a lot of Shonen Jump series do like really good horror pages. I don't think this did. I
Mhm.
think when it was trying to be gross, it was pretty tame. I don't think it did a very good
Mhm.
job of that. I think Mama Yu Yu, which we'll talk about later, did a really good job of that. But this, I
Yeah.
don't think really did. I think its action flow is good. I like the initial fight against the Yakuza was very good. When
Mhm.
he's like flipping around and cutting them all, you can follow the motion really well.
Mhm.
I especially like the transition from the left half of 51 up through
Yeah.
52, where you can
Yeah.
kind of follow the page down with him flipping over, going over everyone, and then landing in the center. Like it was good. It's solid action flow. Um, I don't know. I think that this is one that will be around for a while, because I see people
Yeah.
also calling it like Morbius. Like, oh, nobody actually likes it, and it's purely ironic, like because of the memes. And I was like, I don't think that's true.
I purely thought calling it Morbius was funny when I saw it. I definitely don't think it is Morbius, but I think it's
Yeah,
funny.
I have like, if you look at the Shonen Jump like Twitter,
Yeah.
you see and whenever they post about it, it gets a lot of interaction, probably because of the memes.
Mhm.
Um, but then you also get all the people in the comments that are like, "Why are you guys pushing this dog shit series that's going to be dead in a week because it's only popular because of memes, just like Morbius?" And it's like, first of all, I don't think that's true. But second of all, why are you all so eager to watch this new guy die and like fail? It feels kind of nasty, doesn't it? Like, cause you see a lot of people talk about. I mean, I know we talk about like I want this series to go away, um, but it feels really, what's the word I'm looking for? What ingenuine is not a word, but it feels very fake of people.
Disingenuous?
Disingenuous, that's the word. Of people when they're like, how dare you criticize mangaka for taking time off for their health when they need it to live. It should not be so brutal on them. But then you have a new guy trying to break into the scene, and they're like, "I hope you fucking fail because the internet said that your thing was funny." It just
Yeah,
feels weird. I don't know.
if you have like a valid reason to not like a series, I guess that's one thing. But like Kagurabachi one chapter deep, not much there. Like,
It's the fucking pilot. I saw a dude on Twitter, and at first I thought he was kidding, but he was dead ass serious. That was like had a list of like everything that sucked about it, and he was one of them was no established power
wow.
system. And I was like, it's fucking chapter one. What do
Most
you
series
mean?
don't
What do you
have one
mean
by
no?
chapter one.
When did they introduce Nen in Hunter x Hunter in like chapter 50 or some shit? Like, what are you talking about? No established
Yeah,
power system.
yeah. Go into JJK chapter one and then read this recent chapter and tell me what happened.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, what are you fucking talking about? I can't even think. The only series I can think of that established its power system in chapter one was like My Hero because it has to, because the
mhm.
world makes no fucking sense if they don't. You know?
And even then, there was still a lot of time that it spent like fleshing it out as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, they talk about the power system in chapter one. They just don't flesh
Yeah.
it out because it's your fucking pilot chapter.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, yeah. Just
You
have
don't
your
want the
entire
whole
pilot chapter
pilot.
be fleshing out the power system. Yeah,
Yeah.
have your entire first chapter be a fucking Google spreadsheet talking about the systems.
Imagine the first chapter of Naruto was just Kakashi with that fucking chakra graph that he uses, and that's
Be
the whole
so
chapter.
fire.
It's like, I don't know, man. The hate feels very, it's not the greatest thing ever, but I feel so like inclined to defend it because the hate feels so forced and stupid.
I love the memes about it.
I
Honestly,
think
I
the memes are
love.
super funny. There was one, oh my god, what was it? It killed me. It was like it was like a short clip of like a fight from a movie or something. Um, and then the guy turned around, and it was like a blink and you miss it frame of the guy drawing
Yeah,
a sword. It was so fucking good.
I love the meme culture surrounding this series. It's honestly fucking hysterical.
I
Like,
also like the one where it's Sukuna, like where and instead of Maki, it's this guy.
yeah, yeah.
So good.
I think the culture on this series is hilarious, and it's not that I wish for it to be canceled, but when or if it does get canceled, I think that will also be a very funny day on Twitter.
Yeah, that's very true. I also think the memes are really funny. I just wish they didn't feel so much like preying on this guy's downfall when people are making them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't see those very often. When I see a Kagurabachi tweet on my timeline, it's like some funny ass edit of him in a different series or something, and it's like, that's good. And then I don't look at the comments.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's fair. That's very fair.
And I mean, I think Kagurabachi is going to do very well, as evidenced by the success was just like so palatable this week that the chapter count doubled, which is intense. Um, and it honestly, I think we know why Gojo decided to bow out. Like,
He had to bail. Yeah, he knew. He
yeah,
knew. He
he
wanted to
knew
get
his
out of
time was
here
up.
before someone else could challenge him for the title of the GOAT.
He
Yeah, I get it.
he had to jump out before somebody won Twitter's sexiest man in Weekly Shonen Jump or some shit. Like,
Oh man. All right. Well, that's all
yeah,
I have to say about it.
yeah.
I really
Uh,
dragged that segment on, but
the only thing I have to tag on is to your point that you can't really develop everything in chapter one. Chapter two felt like much more of a laying groundwork chapter.
yeah, it did, and I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I like what
yeah,
chapter two did.
it's
I
fine.
am looking forward to it. I want to read more of this, which is more than I can say for a lot of things when they're released.
I think it will be very funny if this series does super well and like actually is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would kind of be funny either way. Like, I think
True.
no matter what happens, I think it's funny now. But
Yeah.
I would like to see more of it. I'm looking forward to a potentially good series here. I think there's something in this somewhere.
I would just love the juxtaposition of everyone memeing how good it is in chapter one, and then by like chapter 30 or something, people are like, "Wait a minute, like
Hell, hold
it's
on a
actually kind of
minute.
fire. It's
Yeah,
actually
wait,
kind of
is
fire."
this actually amazing? Yeah, I would be there for that. All right. Next up is two. What is it? Two on ice? Is that what it's called? Yeah, two on
Yeah,
ice.
yeah. So the girl Kisara, she claimed that the reason she disappeared is because she wanted to do pairs,
Right. She
but
wanted to do
I don't think that's an
duos.
authentic. I don't think that's real. I think she's lying.
Yeah, I also think she's lying because the way
Yeah,
she says it, and when he brings up her name at first, she's very like, I do not want to talk about this. Like, just leave it
yeah.
alone. Which, if the answer was, I just wanted to change my focus,
Hmm.
why would that?
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
hasn't it been like a decade?
Yes,
If
it's
she
not.
wanted to do pairs, she
Yeah,
would
actually,
have
it has been.
paired
Yeah,
up. It's been like a
exactly.
while.
Yeah,
If she
I
wanted to
forgot
just do
how.
pairs,
Yeah,
she would have by now. You know.
yeah. I
Um,
do appreciate that the story didn't want to like drag us along with like, oh, is this actually her for a while?
oh
But it
yeah,
was just
it's
like,
it's
yeah,
very
it's me.
blatant about like, look,
And then
it's the person. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, yeah, this is me. But then it substitutes that with like like a different kind of mystery. It's like, oh, what's like the actual reason why
Yeah,
she
why did
dropped
she
out?
actually? And
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely not. Oh, I just wanted to do pairs instead. That's why you couldn't,
yeah,
because there's absolutely no way that she would just fall off the face of the earth if that was all it
yeah.
was. You know?
Um, I think I like this chapter more than I expected to. I
I
guess
yeah,
I went
I
into it with
I
low
looked at
expectations.
it and I looked at the cover and I was like, is this seriously a fucking figure skating series? Like, I can't imagine giving a shit about this. Actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it
Yeah,
was very good. I think it
hetero.
had a better
Yeah,
first chapter than Kagurabachi and
yeah,
pretty
I
much
agree.
anything recently. I think it had the best first chapter I've read in a while. Um,
Yeah, heterosexuals on ice kind of went crazy, bro.
it did. It really did. I'm big on. I like the way also where they depict him doing her move and like copying her,
Yeah,
and his motion turns into her like throughout the story. I
yeah.
thought that was pretty cool. I like that view. And I don't know, something about the art in this. It's not super like polished, but
Mhm,
it feels very. I don't know. I don't know if authentic is the word, but it feels very like personal. There's like a lot of style in here that I enjoy.
mhm.
Um, I hope it doesn't die. It probably will because it's a figure skating series and no one gonna read this. But
Yeah.
I hope that it stays around. It won me over pretty hard
Yeah,
here in the first chapter.
I am moderately locked in.
Yeah, I am astonished at how locked in I am, considering what I
Yeah.
thought when I looked at the cover. Uh, all right, so then now I think we're in top. God, we still have so much more to go. We're in top three territory here. So the first one is looks like Mama Yu Yu.
Man, I like this series way more than I
I
expected to.
like it too. I didn't at first. The first few
No?
pages, I was almost rolling my eyes.
Oh, I
I
understand.
was
Yeah, I
like,
get
oh
it.
my God, it's gonna be another one of these fucking things where people and humans live. And then by the end of the first chapter, totally subverted all that for me. I thought
Yeah.
it was really great. The art, fucking awesome. I really love the way that this artist uses panels,
Yeah,
where
his panel, dude, their paneling is really good.
it's really good, and the way that they do it is super creative. Like the monster on page
Mhm.
22 of chapter 2, like stretching the panel open
Yeah.
was really cool. And then in chapter 3, I really enjoyed the old man, like the swordsman, where
Mhm.
all of his sword slashes were panel cuts.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I really liked
Um,
both of that.
I really fuck with shit that's like trying to find out what a hero is. I really think that stuff's cool. I think chapter 3 honestly, I think chapter 3 is my favorite so far. I really enjoy sequences that are like fast paced, lost in thought kind of sequences. Like there's one that I remember in MHA where Lady Nagant like first shoots at him and Deku is like, "Oh fuck, we're doing this. Like this shit is happening right now." I think shit like that is really cool. And he's kind of having that when he's about to, try and fight and maybe, get fucked up by this creature. Um, especially like the line where he's like, "I have to fight. You get that, don't you?" It's like that shit hits.
hmm I also really like the bit where he is on the bench, and the old man comes
Yeah.
over and is like, if I was there faster,
Hmm.
then none of this would have happened. And he said, and he kind of admitted that he tried to run away. And
Yeah.
then, the guy trying to console him, saying like, if I had been there 10 seconds sooner, it would have been fine. And his
Hmm.
answer is no. If I had not run away and tried, I could have bought 10 seconds for you to get there. It's my fault, not
Yeah.
you. I thought that was a good conversation.
Yeah. The concept of like other heroes being transported to this world gives me the idea that like his like Corleo's trajectory is going to be, with the expectation of a hero seeing what that has done to other people and the damage that it can do to oneself. and I think that'll be. I think like the identity of a hero and the identity of Corleo will probably be um a very central part of
Yes, yes, I
his
think so
character
too.
conflict going
Because
forward.
what's his predecessor's name? Hallo, something
So
like that.
holla holla, yeah.
Hallo, yeah. I kind of like the flashback too, where Corleo views being a hero as almost like it's wasted on him because he has nothing to do,
Yes.
right? But then his predecessor, like that was his life's goal, was for the hero
Yeah.
to have nothing to do. And so I really like that juxtaposition between the two, where he's like, I feel fucking wasted and useless because I'm supposed to be a hero and I do nothing. I can't do anything. I've
Hmm.
never even learned how to fight. Like I don't know how to do shit.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have his predecessor being like, I want there to be a world where this system doesn't have to exist anymore.
Yeah.
And it's cool because, a lot of times when you get a series that's like, I want to change the system, it's always viewed as like, oh, the system's gone and everything's good now. Like the system was the
Yeah.
problem. And this isn't really leaning into that, which I think is interesting because it's kind of showing like a
Hmm.
realistic take on what do you do when you have these expectations put on you from birth that ultimately mean nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I like the grappling that he's doing with this because he wants to
Hmm.
be something bigger than he is, and he kind of gets that moment in the beginning where the guy saves him,
Hmm.
and he's kind of like jazzed up on it, and so he runs out and saves that kid from the bullies that
Yeah.
are like shitting on him, um, and he keeps like having these little moments where he wants to be bigger than he is, and then he realizes that he's not that guy, right? Like
Hmm.
in the one where he runs away, and he has
Hmm.
that moment of realization where like I thought I was hot shit because I did something good and it made me feel good and it
Yeah.
made me want to do more and I realized that I'm not like hot shit. Like I
Yeah.
I fucked it here badly. Um,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. I really like him as a main character. I think he's my
Yeah.
favorite
He's
character so
cooking,
far.
man. I
Yeah.
think he's cooking right now.
And a lot of main characters, especially this early on, are very like what are you here for? You know.
Yes.
Um, like if the fuck the
Yes.
newest Exorcist kid, I still think
I
that
was gonna
man.
say 19
Yeah.
chapters in. Yeah. Who gives a fuck?
Uh-huh. Yeah. But I really like this guy. I think he's really good. Also, this is
I.
completely off topic, but just very quickly. Chapter 3, page 19. I like how he puts a shadow on the speech bubbles to indicate to you like
Yes. I
serious
was.
shit that he's being told that's like kind of weighing on him, you know?
Yes. I didn't write that down, but I also like that. Dude, this author cooks with like the paneling,
Yeah, the
the use
way
of the
that he
dialogue
uses
boxes.
the
Yeah.
actual medium itself is really cool because
Yeah. He's cooking.
you can have really good writing said in
Yes.
tons of different ways,
Hmm.
but actually using like not just the space on the page that you have, but the actual flow of like what people expect from the
Hmm.
medium itself to convey your point, I think is really cool.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. This is awesome, man. Mama Yu is good. I'm also very expected that Mama didn't just regenerate her arm, which is what I was just expecting when it just ended.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
because
like,
she's like a demon and she's just gonna get it back or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
I was like, oh, she's probably just gonna grow it back. This is probably not gonna be that big of a deal. And then she
yeah,
just sort of didn't, and I was like, oh
yeah,
shit, okay, this is real.
yeah. Not only did she not, they were even like, we can't like you can't fix it. you know,
Yeah,
they even kind of had that conversation like outside. They're like, yeah, if I had been there sooner, we could have saved her hand or whatever. But now it's too late.
yeah.
Um,
So my apologies, Mama Yu. I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah, yeah. I of the newbies right now, this one is the big contender for me.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I really like this one.
I think it's
Um,
great so far.
yeah, big fan, big fan. So if you were waiting for us to talk about Mama Yu Yu, congratulations. It's got the
It
seal of
paid off.
approval. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Next we have Undead Unluck.
these chapters have been fire, man.
Dude. Rip is so fucking cool.
He is. He is.
He is on the back of a motorcycle, putting dotted lines on his leg to cut them off.
He's so cool, man. What the
He's
fuck?
so fucking cool.
He's so
Um,
fucking cool.
and I remember us talking about it last time about the Greaves, and we were like, "There's no way they're gonna
Uh-huh.
make him cut his fucking legs off, right? They're just gonna
Yeah, I
he's
was
gonna
thinking the same thing. I was like, we were
yeah."
just talking about how he's not gonna do that.
And then there he is being like, "You have to do it. You don't have a choice. You've got to cut your
Yeah,
fucking legs
no,
off."
she just walks up to him and was like, "You have to cut your legs off." He's like, "I mean, all right, sure.
Uh-huh. Uh,
It is what it is."
he is so cool, dude. I love this guy.
He is
I
very
always
cool.
liked him before too, like even when he was
Mhm.
kind of on the enemy team. Um, but I really like seeing them work together as like a group. A
Yeah.
lot of what I
Also,
really liked about the follow-up portion where it's been the Fuko-centric story has been
mhm,
everyone that used to kind of be on the opposite side, sort of working in tandem. Like seeing Billy and them
mhm,
work together from the start, I think has been enjoyable.
yeah. Um, I feel like his he got his motivation very organically in that that kid was like, "Oh, well, I guess this is all God's plan or whatever," she said, and he was like, "Well, then fuck God, you know what? God's a piece of shit." Which obviously for the series where the goal is to fucking kill God, that's a pretty raw way to get that motivation without having Fuko like tell it to him.
Yeah, I agree. I think the whole thing is like has been done really well.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to this bit. Like obviously I've been talking about looking forward to
yeah,
them coming back for a while. I also really liked when Fuko was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to cut your legs off and shit," and he was like, "Okay."
yeah. He
Before
was
I
just
do that, they went to like the beach like they did when they were kids,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
had that
I like
like
that.
cute moment together because he was like, "I don't know,
Mhm,
if we're gonna come out of this on the other end or not." So I wanted to have
mhm,
to do this one more time, and then the minute that he kind of gets that, I guess that like piece that he was looking for,
mhm.
he sits up and he's ready to go like immediately, and
Yeah,
I
he's like,
love that.
yeah.
He's like,
He's like,
"It's
all
time
right,
to do
well,
it."
here go my legs.
hmm it's good stuff.
Yeah,
All right, next up is, don't mind me, I'm just typing the timestamp right now.
I know which one's next.
Sakamoto Days.
I didn't know. I forgot about Sakamoto Days. I did not know which one was next.
Sakamoto
Um,
Days. It's very raw. That's pretty much it, but it's super
yeah, it's
cool.
pretty raw. Dude, like I said earlier, doing the New A's Exorcist section is that if you're existing in the same magazine as Sakamoto Days, you really gotta step it up, bro. Like this entire fight with Kamehate and Heisuke, whatever his fuck his name is, I forget already. Um, it made me think about MHA's fight with Lady Naga, and I was like, damn, what could have been if Horikoshi was good at choreography?
Right? Like, how crazy would that have been? Dude, this
Yeah,
sniper fight has been so fucking cool from the
I
beginning.
know.
Like,
It's like,
him calling out that it was going to be a headshot and jumping to tank it with the vest to find its
yeah, that
location, and
was pretty
then, like,
sweet.
shooting the crane off and using a
Dude,
sign to,
shoot,
like,
yeah, I was gonna say shoot the crane. Like you invent this scene, right? You invent this time where he's like, "Oh shit, this crane is gonna fucking kill me. I gotta do something about this." You dodge the crane, and then he shoots a fucking signpost into the crane so
to
that
redirect the crane. Yeah, to
yeah.
make it loop back around. It's
How do you
so,
think of that?
yeah, it's so fucking cool. And then, even though he eats the crane hit, he still gets a shot off that almost hits the
Yeah,
guy.
like how do you think of that shit? Like what the
And
fuck is
like,
that?
dude, a car, like he shoots a bike so that he can shoot the bike's tire to ricochet the
Yeah,
bullet. It was so fucking
dude,
cool.
that was crazy.
Yeah, that's like action choreography that's beyond fucking reason. It's so sick.
Actually insane. It was fire though. I liked it a lot. Just like every other Sakamoto Days chapter, though, unfortunately. I have nothing much to say besides that was badass. Oh, yeah, you notice how Lou wasn't there again?
She was there for one panel.
Oh, great.
She got a panel. She got to say he better pay for my laptop.
Yeah, huge. I guess I should just get over it, but, damn,
Yeah, I mean,
sucks.
I like Lou too, but it sucks to see her flop to the wayside. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, now we can fucking. All right, it's Jujutsu Kaisen time.
Honestly, man, I think this one might have just been too implicit for you.
I've actually had someone say that to me. That I so someone responded to me saying I didn't like it, and they said I really wish all you fuckers would stop just pretending to like the series for views when it's good, and because you're just not smart enough to understand it now. Um, and the only response I have to that is just because it does technically make sense doesn't make it good.
Yeah,
And the way that so I am a big advocate that this chapter would be perceived very differently if we actually saw the attack. Um,
I agree.
I really think that if we
I
saw the attack, the way that this is framed would have changed for a lot of people's like view on what happened.
personally, I still would have thought it was hot ass, but, teach their own.
I think that it would have been better. I think it still wouldn't have been good, but it would have been better because it almost
Right.
feels like a cop out to just cut like after Gojo won, and then she's like hard cut, and he's just
It's
already dead.
very silly. It's very silly.
It's
Yes.
almost comedic. Yeah, it's a little funny, which is not how you should really handle the ending of this, obviously.
The death of Gojo.
Yeah, the death of the most popular character in your
Yeah.
series by not an insignificant margin.
So
Um,
like ultimately for me, I do of course think that the shot happening off screen is very silly. Um but that's not even the worst part for me. I think bringing Gojo out the box, doing nothing with him, and then just killing him is very fucking silly.
yeah,
It's
well,
the
because
silliest thing I've ever seen.
every time you say that it feels weird that he died here, and for the record, I
Yeah.
always thought he was going to die because I thought like you had to lose, right? We've talked about it on the show a ton of times. Like
It just needed more content before he died.
yes, he needed more to do before dying because if all you were going to do was take him out of the box just to kill him, why would you not just leave him in the box? What
Yeah.
what's the genuine difference? Because
Yeah.
it's not really like he had a lot of interpersonal beef with Sukuna, right? Like there's nothing
Mhm,
here
mhm.
between the two of them character-wise other than just it's really cool to see the strongest people fight each other.
Yeah.
Um, he didn't get to resolve any of the stuff with Kenjaku or like Geto's body or anything. That
Mhm.
and also him being gone makes Kenjaku having Geto's body feel like not that big of like it's just who he's in now because
Yeah.
there's no longer anyone left other than maybe Yuta, who
Yeah.
has any sort of emotional connection to Geto at all.
Mhm.
And saying that Yuta does is a stretch.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a very strong connection. He
No,
beat his ass and then left.
they fought and that was it. Yeah. Um, Also, I think Gojo just getting one shot by an attack that he's tanked like a bajillion times up to this point feels very silly and stupid.
Yes.
Having to justify it a bunch of times, like he's tired, also feels dumb because the very last chapter they said, oh, by the way, he's not tired anymore because he hit Black Flash a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Um,
So that I
why
asked
not
this
just leave that
question.
part out?
I asked this question on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you saw it and even replied to it. Why can't he just heal?
Yeah,
Like, why
I
does this
saw
kill
people
him?
say that he can't heal because cursed energy comes from the gut and he got cut in half at the gut. Um, and I maybe I don't
Maybe.
know. Maybe. Um,
Well, wasn't
I've never
the
seen that said before that like if
I
you cut someone in the gut, they can't heal. Um,
I feel like I don't know. Like I've seen Gojo survive getting stabbed in the brain. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to think anymore. Like
yeah, right. Like he got stabbed right in the fucking brain, and
and he
also
told him he's like, oh, you should have cut my head off. Like
right. That's what I don't get because the whole thing is that reverse curse technique comes from the head,
yeah.
and so the only way to kill a reverse curse technique user is to get rid of their head. That's why Kashimo
Right.
tries to blow up Hakari's head.
Yeah.
Um, but we've seen Gojo get stabbed in the fucking brain and then be fine. So is it? And he says like, oh, if you had used the knife that nullifies cursed energy or whatever, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But
Yeah.
why is having a horrifying brain injury not enough? Like to stop it? I don't know. I don't know. The rules around a lot of the minutia of cursed energy usage feel very
Mhm.
arbitrary, and it's just like whatever
Yeah.
needs to
I
happen for the moment.
I didn't get a particularly satisfying answer, at least personally, for the reverse curse technique thing. So I'm just gonna keep going with that one.
Yeah,
Um.
I see no real, and also he got his neck like sliced, like gashed open, and he
Yeah.
healed it off like before it could even really do anything. So I'm very like confused by the fact that he took so much damage that he couldn't like heal as he was. I don't know. I don't know. Again,
Hmm.
there's so many little there are a lot of explanations in here that work, but there's so many little weird things about it that make them feel worse. Because if
Hmm.
you say like, oh, he couldn't heal because he was, tired or whatever, like he was
You got
exhausted from the
sleepy.
fight.
Yeah.
So I would believe that if they didn't make a point to say,
Say
oh,
he
he
was
can heal
he
again
got
now.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, he got better. He can heal again. Why would you not just leave that out? If you wanted Gojo to be out of the story, because you keep seeing people say, well, Gojo can't just be in the story. He's too strong. He's got to be out. Guess what? He was already out of the story. He was
Yes.
in the box.
You reintroduced him, gave him nothing to do, and then instantly killed him,
He
which
literally
is
came out. He said, I'm going to kill you to get Geto's body back. Didn't do that. And then fought Sukuna and then died immediately.
yeah.
Uh,
It's very silly.
it's also extra silly because like I saw someone say that they feel like Gege wrote this chapter after seeing the memes online, like that he's tapped into what people are saying that like Sukuna is a fucking joke and like stupid or whatever. And so that like it makes no sense to me that the first 10 pages of this chapter are Gojo like deep throating this man. And
It's
like
yeah.
oh, he's so strong. He couldn't even go all out, even though the last chapter the narrator was like, Sukuna's pissing his pants. It's the first time
Yeah,
he's ever been afraid. And now the next chapter, they're like, actually, he wasn't even trying that hard, really.
yeah.
Um,
So like, I know that it was established. Oh, Sakuna is like kind of holding back, like asterisk, because what if he gets jumped, right? Um, but damn, that is not a satisfying way to pay that off at all.
no, no, it sure isn't. Also, them saying Sukuna's got a trump card in reserve that he's not using in case he has to, you know, get rid of us or whatever.
Hmm.
That was just Hikari saying that as a theory. At no
Yeah,
point is anyone like, oh, we know he's got something. And so, and other people are like, obviously he's holding back Yorozu's thing, duh. But like Gojo doesn't know that exists, right?
yeah. Nobody does.
So nobody does except for Sukuna.
Yeah.
So Gojo saying that he's holding back because he didn't use that is stupid and impossible because he doesn't know it was there.
Hmm.
Um, and then the whole bit about I might not have been able to win even if you didn't have 10 shadows is fucking
Oh my
stupid. It's the
god.
dumbest shit I've ever seen. Because one, Sukuna got fucking blasted the whole fight,
Yes, he
except
did.
for because of 10 shadows. Even even Sukuna's explanation of what happens is I had to use Maharaga to beat you.
Like
Like
that's what makes it even harder to swallow. Is like I
yeah, in the same chapter you have Sukuna basically countering what Gojo said that like oh
could
I
you
might not have been able to do it, and then
like could
Sukuna's like
you
I had
just
to like
have not have made it just like more of a fair fight?
right
Like
like make it a fight where it feels like both sides are struggling as opposed to Sukuna desperately trying to
Gojo,
get Maharaga done in time before he gets killed.
like yeah, Gojo literally taking Sukuna out to dinner before he fucks him. Like come on, like it
Yeah,
was
like
ridiculous.
the whole fight was Sukuna getting his fucking ass rocked by Gojo. And every time he really countered Gojo, it was like, oh, Maharaga's a little bit more adapted than he was before. Like every time. And so
Yeah, and then
saying and then so saying like, oh, I might not have been able to beat him even if he didn't have Maharaga feels bad and stupid and dumb. And the defense I've seen defenses for all the points that I'm making, so I'm going to talk about them.
okay,
The defense that I've seen for that is well, if Sukuna didn't have Megami's technique, he would have fought differently. And my response to that is always, what would he have done? And they say, I don't know. Because there is nothing because what would he have done? Honestly, like what could he have done? Um there's like it feels stupid to give them the leeway of like, oh, if he didn't have 10 shadows, he would have beaten Gojo some other way. And then you're like, okay, what other way? And he was like, I don't know.
I forgot.
Like because there's no other way that we've seen that he could do it.
Yeah,
Um I also think the framing this as like, oh, I won because I figured out how to bypass the shield feels fucking stupid because he bypassed the shield like 4 weeks ago, right? So like, if you were waiting, because remember when Gojo blocks Maharaga's arm and Sukuna shoots him in the wrist with the piercing blood water cannon,
yeah.
and he's like, oh, I see. Maharaga's turning my shield off when he attacks me, and then Sukuna's taking
Mhm,
advantage of that and cutting me.
mhm.
Why did he not just cut him in half right then?
He forgot.
He forgot
Like,
he
I
could
don't
cut.
know.
Yeah, he. I guess because I know they said something like, oh, he can't use cleave while Maharaga is like adapting or whatever. Um, but Maharaga appeared adapted enough at that point.
Yeah,
The shield was done with at that point. So why would you not just cut him right then? Or just use
like
any attack more substantial than like making his wrist bleed a little bit that he immediately
at
healed off.
at the end of the day, people can appeal to, oh, but it makes sense, it makes sense, all they want. It's not gonna make me less upset that Gojo did nothing and then died. It's
Right.
stupid.
Like you can definitely break this down into its individual pieces and say,
There
oh,
are many
it
complaints.
there yeah. But like all of you can make an argument like that fucking dude from It's Always Sunny in front of the crazy conspiracy board and
Yeah.
say like all of this technically makes sense. And my answer to that is okay, but was it satisfying? And I think if you're saying yes it was, you're lying basically. Like
So the way that some people view media, and I would be very shocked if Ocean Man hasn't already talked about this on here. A lot of people view media as a math equation. In that, if something links to another thing, fucking foreshadowing plus rawness equals good. I don't know, some shit like that. But that's not really how it works, man. Like something isn't good because it's been foreshadowed, or something isn't good because it's been set up.
it's
There,
good
there are more
because
steps to that.
it's yeah, setting something up. I think people that obviously you're right. They talk about that a lot, and
Yeah.
also it's the next one is like backstory. Did he have a good enough
Oh
backstory,
yeah, yeah.
or was there was there a good enough backstory for the reason for him to act this way? It's like the
Mhm.
weird, like almost like a rubric that people use. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've seen people say they hate Dio from JoJo or like Frieza because there's not enough backstory for why they're evil. And I'm like, guess what? Some people are just assholes. Like Sukuna
Yeah.
has no backstory as for why he's really that evil. He's just a dick. He's a very strong cunt. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And so like you can't keep looking at these individual things and being like, oh, because this has it, it's an objectively satisfying result. Like
Yeah.
personally for me, it feels really fucking weird to see Gojo lose this fight, which we knew was going to happen.
Mhm.
But to see him lose this fight and say, oh, I have no regrets. I am
Mhm.
very happy with what happened. When the end result of this is now that like all of the students that he used to be so fiercely protective of that he was ready to murder all of the higher ups because they fucked over Yuji immediately, like
Yeah.
he was like, I'm gonna go kill them right now. Like
Yeah, and then people in his like dream world or whatever the fuck are talking to him about how he never actually cared about this shit or whatever, and he was like, yeah, okay.
yeah, which like what the fuck are you talking about? Because if that were true, why are you making a character die and then you're like, actually, all of his interesting motivation wasn't true, actually. I don't think that that's necessarily the case because, they're all saying that, but
Mhm.
as they're talking, Gojo's also talking about how when you're so far above people to a certain level, you can foster them and help them and be there for them, but you can't ask them to understand you because they
Mhm.
don't get you. You know, like I can't ask Nanami ultimately like to understand me as a person because he can't.
Right.
And I get that a lot of that is like, oh, but Geto could, and that's why you're my buddy or whatever, because they gotta get fucking Gojo Geto and everything that the one of them is in. I get that, but like so it makes sense for me that they would view him in a certain way that wasn't true to the
Mhm.
way that he really was. And when they say that, he even has that frame of like not particularly liking that response. He like looks
Yeah.
kind of like it's more of like a borderline pouting face than anything, but he definitely like looks at that and is like, I don't know that that's right. But then they just kind of pass it
Yeah, he
off
just
and
does.
just yeah, he just kind of does and it just moves on. I don't know. It's just weird to me to see him be like, "Ah, I had a good fight and I am sated. I am happy now." But like
Yeah.
the world that he wanted to protect and foster and grow are now completely on their own against
Mhm.
Satan,
Yeah.
who can slice open dimensions and shit. Um, and I saw someone say again there because there's defenses for fucking everything that when he got sealed in the prison realm, we already had that scene of him
Mhm.
being like, I had faith in everyone, and that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for him to be like, Yuta's got it or whatever, like I know that
Yeah, I
he has
think
faith in them. I'm
yeah,
more looking for him to look at this as a situation where like I thought that I was the strongest and could do everything, and I on some level failed here.
yeah, the point is that you just want him to not be happy that he's dead. Like or like
Kinda.
satisfied that he's dead.
Because it doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and again, if he's gonna be satisfied that he's dead, I think that's okay. But to not even like mention it at all, like to not have him even for a second, like his biggest regret in this is that he didn't jerk Sukuna off hard enough before he died. There's nothing about Yuta, nothing
True.
about Yuji, nothing about like I tried to save Megami and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
None of
Megami.
that.
I feel like he should have some strong feelings about, but I guess not.
But yeah, it doesn't come up at all, and
Yeah.
it's just over. Like I don't know, man. And then the cut to Kashimo is just pure
Oh my
comedy.
god, dude! I feel like everyone who
Unbelievable
gasses up. I
comedy.
feel like everyone who gasses up Kashimo is like a fucking like a government agent. You can't actually
Yeah,
you
like
can't
an
actually care
industry
about this guy.
plant, like a paid actor. Like
Yeah,
this dude has
people
done
are
nothing
dude.
other than get like he had one cool line with that
Yeah,
fucking the funeral for the living line is like the
yeah.
one cool thing he did, and he has been coasting off of that ever since.
Like people want to call Kagurabachi an industry plant, dude. Weekly Shonen Jump has had one since Kashimo and fucking Hikari. Like,
Yeah,
let's be
I
real.
don't like, and I don't understand because again, Gojo's the most popular character in the series. Like
Hmm.
he trended like fucking crazy when this chapter came out.
Yes.
Just the leaks alone had his name all over Twitter, like trending tabs, all this shit. Um,
Hmm.
and you end the chapter of his death with no name McFuckface jumping out and trying to hype it up. Like we're supposed to be like, oh shit, Kashimo's ready to like who is looking at a lot of people's favorite character is not Gojo most people probably think he's my favorite character. He's actually not, but um, a lot of people's favorite character, and certainly the most
Yeah.
popular one, dying. And the chapter itself was more or less fairly emotional. Like seeing Rico, I thought was nice.
Sure.
And kind of seeing like Haibara. I don't really give a shit about Haibara, but he was like, it was nice to see like these. Even Toji was in it, which I thought was really funny. Um, to then cut to like it's a WWE like SummerSlam advertisement.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now it's Kashimo. Like, what do you? Who gives a shit that Kashimo's here? Are we really gonna have just the next chapter is like it's just time for the action figures to start smashing into each other again?
Yeah. So I think my final thought on JJK is I'm not gonna lie, I do think there's a possibility that he gets back up, and I think that would be the funniest fucking thing ever.
I don't think he's gonna get. I think it's over. I don't think he's gonna get back up. I've seen arguments that oh I don't see why he can't heal, which again I don't think he's going to heal. I think you're right that it's weird that he can't, but I don't think it's
Mhm.
going to. Purely because of the page where where Suka says, "I'll never forget you," and then it cuts to Gojo
Mhm.
smiling as he's dying. I don't think he's going to get back up. Um, I've seen people say, "Oh, Kashimo is going to jump in, and while Kashimo is fighting him, Yuta is going to heal Gojo." I don't think so.
No.
Um, I don't think could Yuta do that? Yes, he could.
Yes.
Will he do that? No. Um, I've also seen people say somehow that Kashimo's curse technique, because he's Lightning Man, is gonna defibrillator Gojo, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not gonna
I don't think
happen.
they know how a defibrillator works.
No, they don't.
he's,
Yeah,
he's
he's horrific blood loss. You can't defibrillate
he
that.
is sliced in two.
Yeah, he's in several pieces. Um, I don't see
All I'm gonna say,
how
dude.
this cliffhanger
All I'm
makes
gonna
any
say.
sense.
He's wearing the fucking the. Is he still wearing the Toji outfit? I don't even know
Yeah,
what he's wearing, to be
he's
honest.
wearing the
Yeah,
Toji fit. Yeah.
he's got the hidden inventory callback on right now, dude. Trust. He's gonna stand back up. I'm gonna laugh my ass off. People on Twitter are gonna be fighting all day. Everyone who said this is actually sick is gonna be fucking balding. Oh my god.
I,
It's gonna be like Bakugo Revival 2.0, but
have
like
you seen the
better.
meme of Cell when Goku blows his upper body off and it's just Gojo hopping back up and his upper
Yeah.
body pops back out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he's gone. But
If it
I don't think it
happens,
was satisfying in the slightest.
I'm locked in like a funny way.
Yeah, it would be really funny if he does get back up after this.
Yeah.
I think that he's gone. I think he's done. I think it was an extremely unsatisfying conclusion for his character arc. I I don't know. I just can't imagine pulling this character out of the box,
Yeah.
bringing him back, making him immediately set an arbitrary timeline to then do nothing and start the fight. Like,
Mhm.
and the whole thing was like because they wanted to give him the same death as Geto, which I don't care about Geto anymore,
Mhm.
honestly. Like, I know a lot of people do, and it's set up at the same time. A lot of times, I think he writes this series around the anime because it keeps weirdly lining up. Because he got sealed in the anime. Like Shibuya just got to the
Yeah.
episode where he got sealed right when he gets killed here. Same thing happens to Nobara. I think like she got
She got
introduced in the
introduced in the
anime
anime, yeah.
in the same chapter she got killed. Yeah. So that feels a little bit weird, but I don't know. It's just like it. It doesn't feel emotionally satisfying to me, and it could have, had they actually used that time frame between the battle and right now to
Yes.
actually do some character work with him.
Yes. But no, we time skipped to
We
Christmas.
time skipped immediately to the fight so that he can just die and do nothing.
Yeah.
Which feels very unsatisfying. I've also had an argument that I thought was actually interesting. It didn't really cross my mind because at this point it's just kind of what Jujutsu Kaisen is. But someone had basically said, I'm not really invested in reading this anymore because it just feels like a sequence of unrelated tragedies that just don't matter. And
Yeah. 100%.
I've run out of emotional like endurance for it. Not like endurance, like
I
not like I'm breaking down,
I know what
but
you mean.
like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I've run out of the ability to care anymore. You know?
I have I haven't been saying that verbatim, but I've been saying something very similar for a long time. Where like JJK's pacing has always been a huge problem for me.
Yeah, where it just feels like, since Shibuya basically, since like the minute Gojo got sealed,
Hmm.
it's basically just been everyone's getting fucked all the time and it's awful, right?
Hmm.
Like there hasn't really been any point where the reader has gotten to go like, oh, oh, I'm getting some emotional catharsis out of it. I guess Gojo getting out of the box could have been that,
Hmm.
but then they immediately time skipped to just killing him. So
Yep.
not really. So it's just like, what's the there's no like emotional time for the reader to celebrate or get invested or excited about anything,
Mhm.
because every time something happens, it's just like something awful for the good guys has happened again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it
there's
makes
no
me.
wins here.
I've been complaining about JJK pacing since like Shibuya, so it feels a little vindicating, but also it's kind of sad because like, I mean, this series was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't dislike it. I'm sure I'm gonna continue to. I'm obviously gonna continue to read it till it ends up at this point. But
Yes.
like, same with My Hero. Like, and I don't even think that this is necessarily as bad as like My Hero stuff. It feels very similar to it. This feels very similar to what's
Yeah.
happening with All Might right now. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just weird. I don't know. It's not a very good chapter. I don't. It's not a very satisfying conclusion to one of your biggest characters.
Hmm.
Um, I I don't know. Like it bothers me that I know for a fact we're gonna spend more time learning about whatever bullshit new Shikigami that he uses to replace Maharaga than we did working on Gojo's character since he came out of the box,
True.
which is very, very disappointing and disheartening. And I don't know. I, I I'm kind of reaching the point as well where it's hard to become emotionally invested because I just don't expect good stuff to ever happen. And
Hmm.
every time more bad stuff happens, I'm like, okay, like whatever. Like
Hmm.
I knew we knew from the start Gojo wasn't going to win because you're having him fight the main villain, and that's kind of where we are with Kashimo too. Because if Kashimo fights Sukuna, he can't win, right? Like he's
Yeah.
gotta lose, and I guess he could do something because his curse technique is like I die when I do this. Like I'm a fucking like I'm a bumblebee. I sting your ass and I'm gone. Um, so I guess it could be something like his curse technique separates Sukuna from Megami or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
At this point, I really just expect it to be the action figures are going to clash for like 3 weeks, and then he's going to use his curse
Hmm.
technique, and he's going to die, and he's going to lose,
Yeah, probably.
and that's what's going to happen. And then they're also like, oh, the best chance we have to kill Sukuna if Gojo loses is right after he finishes killing Gojo because he'll be hurt and he
Mhm.
won't be recovered. Uh, So are we really just gonna be like, oh, Kashimo lost, it's Yuta's turn. Ah, Yuta lost, it's Hakari's turn.
Yeah.
Oh, Hakari lost. Let's get fucking Panda out there until all we have left is Yuji. Like what else? What do we do here at this point?
Mhm.
It just feels so weird, and it doesn't. I feel like no matter where it goes from here, you're gonna have a lot of people be like, what's the fucking point of what they're doing right now?
Great chapter.
Get
I loved it.
a million out of 10. A million out of
Yeah.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's what I've got for it.
Yeah.
So we'll an episode in the books.
Yeah, there we go. Hope you got this was a long one. It's almost
It,
2 hours.
yeah, this was a big one.
I had a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah, sure did. Well, all right. we'll we'll see you guys in the next one.